Okay, so we're off on an expedition into the jungle via boat and bus, or bus first and then a long boat, because there's no roads to where we're going.
You and me, we're family. The bond that we share is as deep as the sea. No matter how rough things may come to be, you and me.
Okay, we're all off to go and get the bus. You excited?
Yeah, very.
Yay. Thank you.
Going into the jungle.
Okay, so we've been at the resort for over a week now, and we've explored the local tributaries and the local wildlife, but now we're going into the deepest part of the junglist jungle.
We're going to the jungle!
Hi, good morning. I'm Anthony. Most people call me Tony, and I'm allowed to be your guide for these coming few days. I am looking forward to it, by the way, because it's been almost a year that I've been on this trail.
Alright.
So yeah, with the whole corona, tourism has been locked down for most of the season.
Yeah.
So it's been a while since I've seen Dampanati.
Yeah.
So I'm all excited. We're ready to go.
Cool.
So we have about 2.5 hours driving across the road before we reach Achoni, and then we have 3 hours on the river. The water level in the river is still a little bit higher, so the boulders and the rapids will not be a problem, so we can pass them with ease. We are exiting the small rainy season and entering the small dry season, so the river isn't very full, but it hasn't emptied just yet, so it's an ideal level. Aluminium has taken a lower position in the world's economy, and so the factory is being dismantled, and all of the scrap metal needs to go back to the United States.
So now that the bauxite mining is stopped, the massive processing plants are being decommissioned, and all that scrap metal has been sent back to the United States to be recycled. And in the centre of Suriname, there's a lake which is in actual fact a reservoir which feeds a hydroelectric dam, and that was put there to feed the bauxite mining trade when it was here. The lake was so shallow that the evaporation was greater than they thought, so then they had to feed the bauxite factories with diesel engines, and that made it economically untenable. So the bauxite mining here has kind of collapsed.
When they enlarged the lake, it displaced a lot of villages. Okay, so we're just entering the town of Brownswig, which was another transmigration town that was set up when they enlarged the lake.
So they had to move and evacuate their village, but they had to register to receive this small apartment. In the distance, maybe you can see some very brown houses with rusted roofs on top. This is what the people got in place of their traditional village. When they build their house, their home, it's not one building, it's multiple smaller houses. They have sleeping quarters, they have cooking quarters, they have storage area, they have an outhouse, they also have a chicken coop. They often have benches underneath a large tree where they spend most of the day. So the houses are mostly for sleeping, and now they have one bedroom house. So that's one part that many of the people did not like, and that's part of the reason why many of the people, or at least some people, settled along the Akubaka Road and created their own little settlement. The past 10 years, this village has been developing very fast due to the amount of gold being found. Here, the forest, they excavate the dirt, they flush it, they wash it to extract the gold. You don't have many gold nuggets, you have mostly gold dust. And it's so light that they often use chemicals like cyanide and heavy metals like mercury to bind it. Of course, it is toxic and it's polluting the environment. So they are trying to switch to better methods, but the mercury and the cyanide is an effective and cheap method to extract the gold. So finding lots of gold, making lots of money, which does benefit the economy. So where do you find the balance?
They've had to pick up on other ways of making money, and one of those ways is gold mining. But as you know, gold mining uses a lot of things like arsenic and mercury, which is really bad for the environment.
There are lots of registered gold mining companies, but then you also have lots of unregistered, illegal gold mining activities. And because the men are native and local in this area, they simply go into the forest in search of the gold, and as soon as they find a good spot, they will start digging, they will start washing with the gold pan, and if it's a good amount, they will increase their activities with large water pumps. They will suck up the creek and blast the water against the soil of the mountain, eroding all of the material, which creates very muddy water that flows back into the creeks, of course. So that's also a second problem. All of the streams are polluted, they are murky, the fish they die, the people cannot drink the water, so it's a big problem.
The bauxite mining and the tourism trade slowed down. The thing that's leading the local economy now is gold mining and logging, which isn't sustainable at all. There's a lot of Chinese companies moving in now to do logging. A lot of the tribes in the interior are actually from ex-slave colonies that were brought in for the tobacco and the cotton trade that was here in old colonial times. So a lot of these slaves kind of ran off into the jungle to escape the slave owners, and then a few generations later they are dispossessed of that land by the building of the reservoir, and then are moved to these sort of transitional towns. So it's been a real kind of transitory few generations for the Surinamese.
Suriname talk, Suriname language, has origins from English. The first plantations we had in Suriname were cotton and tobacco plantations set up by the British. Slaves also learned to speak English, but because of their dialect and the village they came from, it was broken down. So Surinamese developed, they had to learn it, and that's why you have many English influences. Waka, walk. Taki, talk.
So this is where the road stops and the river network starts, and as you can see, it's a bustling little intersection where the buses meet the boats.
A boat trip of about 2 hours, maybe 2.5 hours, depending on our speed. We will be passing a few villages, we will be passing a few rapids. For the people in front, please do not drag your hands in the water. There are piranhas. No, but that's not the problem. But you will splash the person behind you. So we are going around the corner to reach Dampati. But if you would go in that direction, you would reach the hydro lake, the Brokopondo Stuwmeer.
So we're off down the river, and here we go. Yeah, Tony was saying that it's not recommended doing the fish out this river because of all of the gold mining. The mercury and the arsenic levels are quite high, which is a bit sad to hear in this pristine jungle. What's happening Ewan?
Wings follow.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, we are reaching the first set of rapids. When he is old enough, he will become the assisting boatsman. He will have a long pole, a wooden pole, sit in the front of the boat and help maneuvering it in tight corners. If the corner is too tight that the outboard alone cannot make it, then he will push the nose to create that tighter corner. And because he's always up front, he can see every maneuver made with the point of the boat. He can see every rock, how you need to make the bend, how deep it is, where the tight spots are. And when he knows that by heart, and the river level has risen, then he will start handling the outboard.
We just missed so many rocks.
To read the currents, like you are seeing all these currents underneath, there's lots of rocks underneath. And as soon as you see it, experience will tell you I need to go left or I need to go right. And because you have seen that rock, which is creating that current, you know how it's positioned, and you know that if you go right, you will smash against another rock because you've seen that rock before. So now the current is only reminding you that it is there. You should know that it's there, but the current is only reminding you. On the left, this one is called Anola, and this is one of the more luxurious holiday resorts.
So it's a 2.5 hour journey, and some of the crew are starting to get a little bit tired. That's been caught ashore in the middle of the jungle with a 2-hour ride ahead of us. So we've just had a hat overboard, so we had to implement our procedure for hat overboard, which was pointing and going back down the river. How was it, guys?
Okay, so here on the right you have JBK. This is also another medical post. But ashore you also have registration of civilians, birth certificate, registration, death.
So we've arrived. We're here.
Hey Scott! Oh honey! You're back! Hallo! Goeiedag, dat is mijn vrouw. Hey Prince. The Prince of Dampati himself. How are you, man? Yeah? This is the village of my parents. Tokuku. It's the last village. So upstream we don't have nobody lives there.
You cannot see them, but you can feel them. If you listen, you can hear them. If you know how to, you can harness their energy. You know all about it. Wind, sailboats.
Yeah.
So that's why the ancestral spirits, the good spirits, they are called Winti, and they help you to get forward in life. But then you also have bad spirits. We have different names for those bad spirits, but to keep those out, every main entrance will have a leaf gate like this. As soon as you pass, then it keeps out evil and you will come in with a clear energy. But because of the connection with the traditional village, we also have this here.
By visiting this lodge, you contribute towards the social community project that is set up with the surrounding villages and provides childcare, healthcare and education for the local villages, as well as employment for the locals in the actual lodge. Okay, stay tuned for our next episode when we take a closer look at the maroon culture and learn some local crafts. A big thanks for watching, and especially thanks to our patrons who make these videos possible. If you'd like to become part of the Patreon family, then follow the link in the description below, or just put Mothership Adrift Patreon and I'll take you to the right place. We would really love to hear from you, so if you'd like to leave comments, then go to our Facebook page or Instagram, or even to our Patreon page where you can connect to us immediately.
And if you want to do it, do it.
Hey, long for the ride, oh. Hey, I'll stay by your side.